for the stage. And so if I have written a play, that play has not been staged, has not been performed, I am never going to publish it as a text, because a play on text is only a text, is a play text. It is not a play, it's not a performance yet. Now, so the key question we want to ask ourselves is, how do we move from what is written to what is felt? Because it is at the point of performance that people feel. Some people are very good at writing, that when you read what they write, you feel like, oh, I can see the image very clearly. But you see, that image on page cannot be compared to the image you see when you encounter the same thing on stage. It cannot be compared to it. No, so let us look at what is a script itself. A script is not a performance. A script is a blueprint. No matter how good the script writer want to be, then write all the descriptions and oh, the actor do this, the actress did this, the that. It is still what? It is still a blueprint. It is a set of instructions. It is a map. It is not the journey itself. So the script is a map, but the performance is the journey. That is where you feel it. So what are those key elements? The story, which talks about what happens. I have just shown Zeme just showed us a movie here now called a Zemena. And what happened in a Zemena, that is the story or the storyline. What happened there is that there is a boy whose soul is not with him but is somewhere else. That is the story. We're talking about key element of a script now. Character, who it happens to. In this story, it happens to Zemena. Or, if you want, I would say it happens to Zoemena's mother. Why Ozoemena might be the key character of the play or the protagonist of the play, Ozoemena's mother is the victim, is the victim in this whole play. Because the death of a son is not something you want to take lightly. So she will be the one who bear the brunt of the play. So when you talk about character, you talk about characterization. You talk about characterization. What are the outstanding what are the outstanding oh dear traits of the character in the play? Why Ozemena didn't deal much with characterization? Because it is short, but I can use the mother as an example of what I talk about. The characterization, the mother. I mean, you could talk about our emotion. Our emotion can be part of what forms a character. You can talk about our strengths, the strength of a mother. But in this example, we don't have a clear-cut characterization to talk about. So I will flip the card and I will talk about characterization, and I will use somebody like Nkem Owo, the one most of us know as what's that his popular name? I can't remember now. Forgive me. I will talk about Nkem Owo. Now, when you look at Nkem Owo and you talk about character in a play and you talk about characterization, what distincts Nkem Owo is jocular nature, character. Or you want to talk about Baba Sule in the Yoruba movies, or you want to talk about Mr. Bean, the comedian actor. Now you understand what I mean about characterization. Mr. Bean don't need to open his mouth to make people laugh. That is his characterization. Then you talk about conflict. Now, what is the conflict in Ozoemena? The conflict in Ozoemena is the soul of the battle for the soul to keep the boy alive. I don't know if that movie, AI movie you showed us, is going to have a continuation, but I believe that after the soul, the stone had fallen into the water, the mother, ordinarily, depending on what this story is meant to achieve, should have still gone along to it. You know, the strength of a mother, mothers don't give up that easily. So that would have helped to build the conflict of this movie. And then we go to uh the Ozomena is a narrative style, storytelling style you use there. So dialogue is the conversations, how it is spoken, the conversations that happens within the storyline. I think the only direct dialogue in Ozoemena was when the Dibia, the herbalist, said, to save the soul of your child, you have to go to the evil forest. That was the only dialogue. So, but it's a key element. But this Ozoemena used the narrative text. So you could have a monologue, you could have a dialogue, depending on the number of characters in your play, in your film. For poetry, it is usually just one. So it depends. And then, of course, action. What do you see? What do we see in the thing? So action is an important, I mean, very, very important element of what we are talking about. So again, one important truth that we must take note of, as you will see on my screen, is that a script is incomplete until it is performed. And I have mentioned that earlier, and it's my belief also, because as a theater maker, I have a handful of plays. I have not staged them, so I am not confident to put them out there on the stage, and say, to put them out there that I want to publish them, because they have not been tested on stage. So it is important for us to know that. And I think the same thing is applicable to AI, because I believe that AI has its own stage now, which is the digital platform. So our scripts need to be thought through properly, like the Ozemena script. Good commendation to the guys who put that together, but it could have benefited a bit more from an interactive session. For instance, maybe after doing the script, bring a couple of friends together, read it, let people say what they think about it, and use that to improve the play, the thing. So I'll move forward. Okay, where the script come alive is what is called performance, about this script and what should be done and what has to be done, all that blah 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 thing. Now we talk about performance, and what does performance involve? The performance involves the body, which is movement, gesture, presence, how you carry yourself in stage, depending on the kind of role you are playing. Two is your voice, tone, rhythm, silence, which also speak about, your emotion. They are critical, intention, motivation. So it depends. I will use Ozoemena again. Look at how the woman broke down after she missed the opportunity. She lost the stone. She broke down when she came back into the room. Now, if there a dialogue had been written for her at that point, you can imagine how he will speak, or she will speak, giving her emotion, and that will impact her voice, and that will impact her body movement. Already she was in pain, crying. And then, of course, space. When you talk about my world, being a theater maker for the stage, the festival director still hold me. If she's listening to me, the festival director has promised to teach me how to do AI more, so that I can leave the stage a little bit. But she has not fulfilled that promise, so I am holding her to account publicly now. So for space, you talk about stage, you talk about camera, you talk about environments. That is the setting of whatever you are doing. So when you are writing your script, you are also visualizing your environment. You are visualizing your space, where the place will happen, where whatever you want to do will take. You are looking at that. You are picturing it. So if it is not the writer or you who is the writer that is also going to direct the play, you have the opportunity of another person interpreting what you have written. And so the ingenuity, the ingenuity, the ingenuity of that person also comes to fore. And then, of course, you talk about audience. Who is your audience? If it is AI movie, you are talking about the Gen Zs, and of course, the Gen Zs at art like us. I mean, if it is stage, you are talking about the mixed breed of people. If it is, depending on what, it could be live or it could be recorded. Audience is audience. Now, for film, performance is shaped by camera, editing, and technology. Small, small little gestures that you make, eh? Gestures matter more than big ones. And you will see if it's in the indie movies, for instance, there is one before me, even as I am speaking now. You know that the Indians are they like these expressionist, art. There is a way they bring expressions to life in their movies. That film allow you to do that. But when it comes to stage, your presence and your voice is what holds people down. But in movie, you have the opportunity of doing some tricks behind the scene. For theater, performance must travel across space. You move from stage left, right to left stage corner, this, whatever you choose to call it. So I'll move it very quickly. For the next stage, script to performance, what is the core framework of these? And that is where we talk about one, interpretation, two, translation, three, embodiment, four, collaboration. And when we talk about interpretation, which is the first one, what we are talking about is what is this story really about? Is the story about or Mena's mother's strength or himself? That is why when some people watch a movie, it's a different thing you are looking at. It's a different thing that cut across to them. So that's why you have plots and subplots. You can have a movie that has or a stage play that has a plot and it has a subplot or subplots. So it needs to be very clear what exactly your movie is about. So using a Zoemena, again, it was good that I saw that. An apology to the producer. So you need to now be asking yourself, what exactly is the story about? Is the story about Ozoemena or about Ozoemena's mother? I'm speaking in this perspective because of the short one I saw. I don't know what else happened. Now, what does each character want? What does the Dibia want? What does Ozomena want? What does Ozomena's mother want? So you are talking about interpretation. You are talking about what is not being said, but that has to be understood. Now, AI, that's where AI comes into being. AI can help you to answer some of those questions. Pre-AI era, you sit down, you ask all the questions by yourself, you make your research. It is a bit more monologue or analog, sorry to say, analog. You make your findings and you get your answers. But AI makes you and help you do it faster. So it means if you have a script, no matter how badly written that script is, if you feed it into an AI machine, it will do a script analysis, a character mapping, and story structure for you. That is very, very possible. So that's about interpretation. Step two is translation. Though I didn't ask how many minutes I have, but I'm sure that I will soon end this. Step two is translation. This is where many beginners struggle, as a matter of fact. Translation means turning text into action, turning ideas into, so a playwright or a screenwriter could have written something. Whoever is going to be the director of that need to put, to show his ingenuity or our ingenuity in ensuring that those texts, those words that are written actually come to life. And that is the work of a director. For example, the script says she is angry. Now let's look at performance. How does anger show in the body? I wish that this can be a bit more interactive. I would have loved to have people respond. Can people respond to this and just probably put in the text to say, to answer this question? How does anger show in the body? Anybody want to talk back or drop in the text? Any of the participants want to talk back to this, or just drop in the text? Can we do this? How does anger show in the body? Anybody want to try? Anyone? How does anger, so I should continue. So how does anger show in the body? If when you see someone who is angry, that person is fuming, that person is shaking. But they have written on the paper for you, okay, she is angry. She is angry is all you see. But then you need to put up your thinking cap, your imagination. You need to be able to describe that anger without being said. You need to show, not to tell now. So she is angry is a telling. You are telling us that she is angry. But what you need to do is show us that she is angry. Show us that she is angry. So in showing us that she is angry, you need to now put it into action. And the other one, it says, does she shout, freeze, smile, withdraw? What is it probably going to be? It is shouting. You're probably going to hear the person that is angry. Some people, when they're angry, just felt shock and they don't talk. So performance is about choices, not about explanations. Performance is about choices, not about explanations. Just take note of that. Number three, step three is embodiment. Actors and performers must internalize the character. My name is Jerry, and I am playing a character that is a Dibia. There must be a distinction between me and the character I am playing, between you and the character you are playing. That is what we call embodiment. So you need to study your character enough, know your character enough, and try to separate yourself from that character. So when people see you in the movie or on stage, they should not see Jerry. They should see Ozoimena, which is the character I am playing. They should see Tinobu, if that is the character I'm playing. They should see whatever is the character I am playing is what they should see, not the other. Find physical and emotional truths. You need to go and study the character you are playing, look at the speech mannerism of the character you are playing, and try to incorporate that. That is your embodiment of the person you are playing. Avoid reading the script on stage or screen. And I bet you many actors still do that today. And I think it is not their fault, it is the fault of the director. Many actors read their script even on stage, even before camera. I'm not talking about they carry the script in hand and they are ready, no. No. They have internalized it, they know their lines, but they still read it. They are not acting there, acting it. So don't try to act well. Don't try to act well. Try to behave truthfully. Try to behave truthfully to the character you are playing. Number four, which is taking us closer to the end, step four is collaboration. Performance is never, sorry, performance is never a solo thing. It's never. Performance is never a solo. It is, sorry, trying to, yes, requires collaboration. So from script to performance involves many things. The writer, the actor, the cinematographer, the editor, the designer, the technologies like AI sound, AI visuals, in video, in this, in that, and all of that. So it's a collaborative thing. That is why we say theater is a collegiate art. Theater is a collegiate art. There are certain collaborations that must be involved when we do this thing. And so AI enters here as well. And what does AI do here? Performance enhancement, motion capture, virtual actors, like we have seen in Zoemena, and I am beginning to love it. And again, I am holding your what they call your festival director to account again. Digital doubles, and then post performance manipulations to the studio, to the editing suite, and you can do this, and it comes out as something else, than you expect. As we begin to round up this masterclass and allow for some questions, let me start with my own question. AI performance and the new creative landscape. A lot of people have said AI is coming to kill creativity, but I am one of those who will simply tell you, no, no, no. AI has come to enhance. It is garbage in, it is garbage out. Whatever you don't have, you cannot give. If you know how to use AI, AI will enhance what you are doing. If you don't know how to use AI, you will use your hand to destroy what you are doing. That's because you have not mastered the art of using artificial intelligence. But I tell you, artificial intelligence is not a threat to creativity. It's not a threat to theater. It's a tool for support. So the key point for starters here is that AI can simulate performance, but it can not human intention. So that's why I said garbage in and garbage out. It is giggle. Whatever you give to it is what it gives to you. If you don't know how to prompt properly, you definitely will find yourself in this kind of situation. So performance is not just output, it is presence. So the future that we are going into, or that we are already in, is hybrid. Is human creativity plus AI tools, and we need to be ready for it. What is important that we must therefore learn is the ethics of representation and ownership. It is important because there is this tendency that you fall into the trap of plagiarism, and you must avoid that plot of plagiarism. So help you God. Now, I think how to avoid them. Let me talk about common mistakes and how to avoid them. One is, don't treat the script as sacred. Whether you are dealing with stage or you are dealing with movie, the script is a script. Don't treat it as sacred. Treating it as a treat it as a starting point. Just assume that that thing is a provocator. It's just there to spark your imagination. Two, don't overact. Be truthful in your interpretation and in your behavior in trying to interpret a character. It's dangerous to ignore subtext. But what do you do? Playing what is underneath. There are subtexts in our scripts sometimes. If you know how to look at them, you will see the subtext, but you must learn how to play underneath them and ensure that you put everything in context. Acting alone. is important. What does acting alone help you to do? It helps you to listen to yourself. Every good actor must learn how to act to themselves. In fact, they told us in those days that if you have those lines and these things to do your stuff before mirror, do it over and over again, and get used, to it. Take my garment and get used to it, and then when you come into the open, and so a popular actor that you all must probably know. I don't know if this is copyright, but was the one who said it that I heard it. He said, "Act in private. Sorry, practice in private, perform in public." But a lot of actors want to use the stage where they are performing is when they want to perform. But you are supposed to act in practice in private and perform in public. Now, fear of technology. Fear of technology. I don't know why anyone should fear technology. We must learn to collaborate with it. That is how to avoid it. This is a common mistake. We always fear technology. When COVID came and we could not go out, and people were like, people are afraid. Don't use Zoom for theater. Don't use this for theater. I think we all should learn it. Should learn it, how to use technology to improve what we do. And finally, to my last, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we have opportunity for interaction. But what I just want to end with is this practical exercise. You know, one line, three performances. So, for instance, if you say, "I didn't expect to see you here," that is a script. I didn't expect to see you here. It's a script. If I had the opportunity of having you talk to me now, which sadly I don't have, I would I would say that somebody should say that same statement with joy. Somebody should say it with fear, and then somebody should say it with indifference, without joy or fear. You agree with me that it is the same script. What you get is different performances. Meaning lives in delivery, not expect to see you here. If I joy, it is more than this. The actions that will follow, hey, pardon me, long time, wanna build like that. You know, that is with joy, with excitement that I am seeing someone I have not seen for a very long time. But if I am saying it with fear, imagine that as a pastor, you carry a side chick and you went to a hotel, and then a member of your church is a member of your church is working in the same hotel, and they came and they saw you, coming out, and they know for sure, and they, if you be like, I didn't expect to see you here. You will stammer. I didn't. So I have said the same thing under different contexts. But when you say it with indifference, no joy, no fear, oh, I didn't expect to see you here. I didn't expect to see you here. So it's a different feel. What are we talking about again? It is same script, same dialogue, but different performances, different context. That shows you that the text is not the performance. And the meaning of the text is in the performance, is in the delivery. So, even as a writer, it is important that you take very good notes of that. So, what is my final charge? Scripts are ideas. Scripts are only ideas. Performance is responsibility. The responsibility you have to bring that idea to life is performance. Technology is powerful, but artists must remain intentional. You must see. I reviewed a full length AI movie recently, an Hausa AI movie by one of my friends, and it's I felt so much in love with it. I feel like I am the one that owns that project because the guy did a good job. But even at that, I still had some to make into it because as an artist, it was not intentional in certain spaces. So I had to infuse that. So that's why I'm saying technology is powerful. AI can do so many things for you, but as an artist, you have to be intentional with it. African stories deserve truthful, embodied, ethical performance, especially when you are using AI. Because the model that were filled into the AI that we use today, they are largely not African conscious. It is now that we are just infusing, upgrading, and updating them to be able to cover, especially when it comes to voice and all of that, and the so African stories deserve truthful, embodied, ethical performance. And that's why I like a seminar, except for the issues I have raised. I mean, it's beautiful. So, what is my closing thought? From script to performance is not a technical journey alone, a human one. Let's not surrender everything to AI. Let's still ensure our humanness shows forth even in what we are putting forward. This is where I end my presentation. And so I would like to thank you for listening. And if questions, and quickly jump at them. There are questions on screen. I guess I have to enlarge my screen so that I can probably see them very well.
Thank you very much. Um, Thank you very much for that beautiful masterclass on Bajeri Adeshowa. Thank you very much. And we're going to take a few reflections on what of from the masterclass. So I think there's some questions on the screen. Okay, from Danny Mix Stories, he's asking, please, sir, for a story script writing, do we also incorporate more of performance in script narrations? So I don't know if you can hear that Bajeri Adeshowa. You can see it on the screen, I guess,
Yes, please.
from
Yeah. Well, it depends. Okay. Can I get a go at that? Thank you, Daniel. It depends. It depends. But it is better if you can, especially if you are not the one producing your scripts. It is here your idea of that character, of what you expect that, which is what you see a lot in stage plays. The actions and movement and everything is defined. So even in your screen scripts, it is possible for you to detail everything, even though we take the easy way out. If you are not the one who is going to direct your script, I think it is still advisable that you put it there. It might not be used depending on the director, but the director can then now, work on it. That would be my response to that.
All right. Do we have more questions for a masterclass practitioner, Mr. Jerry? Do we have any question? All right. Okay, I'll just give, let's say, 30 seconds to see if we have more questions before we move on to the next agenda. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Omabajere Adeshowa. That was a beautiful masterclass. And I'm sure we have learned a lot that AI is not replacing human performance. We are only meant to use it to an advantage.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Okay. On our
You're welcome.
next,
Thank you.
all right. On our next agenda, next on the list, we have a musical performance by Elijah, an AFM member, Elijah Mikhailu. Please enjoy. First, we are going to be taking Mercy Beryl for a spoken word performance. Yeah, let's take Mercy first before Elijah comes in. Mercy Beryl, is she ready? Are you ready, Mercy? Okay, while the team works to get everything on screen, let's wait patiently for them. Thank you.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mercy. Welcome.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. My name is Masi. Just as it has been said, my name is Masi Beryl. I'm Masi Beryl from Nakuru, Kenya. And yes, I have a spoken word performance. And it's about teenage pregnancies. So I'm translating it first because it's a mixture of English, Kiswahili, and some Sheng, a little bit Sheng. So Sheng is like, maybe for example, we have varieties of English. So in Kenya here we have Sheng, and it's an example of pidgin in Kiswahili form. So yeah, so I'm translating it because not everybody is able to understand Sheng and Kiswahili, because I understand that we come from different countries, and yeah, not everybody is from East Africa. So uh, just to say, so our character here, his name is Dee. Her name is Dee, and she's a teenager who gets pregnant at at 14 years old, and yeah, so she lives with a single mother. And so because her mother does not have a job, so her mother sent her out of the house because it's like the mother has been talking to her about protecting herself as a girl child, but she never listened because she thought it was a joke when her mother used to tell her and mentor her about teenage pregnancy and all those stuff. So when she gets pregnant, her mother sends her out of the house, so she has to deliver out of the house. So and when she's out of the house, she faces a lot of problems because she doesn't have the food, and the baby cries a lot and all those stuff. So at the end of this spoken word, so we have to motivate D, of course, and yeah, and we tell D that yeah, she still has a chance to go back home and reconcile with the mother, and the mother will help her out. So I don't, yeah, I think that's all. So let me go. Aliambiwa once her future her decision. Boys are like lotion, if you give them promotion without motion, you'll end up doing abortion. Hakutake true, his own effect jokes. Party after party, boy after boy. Raha juu ya raha tukaraha. Oh, I mean, maisha mwendo sasa. God tupa mbali, for real, hakujua. Tender at 14, lakini amefukuzwa. Aha, amefukuzwa. Kwa nini D nashangaa? Aha, nashangaa. Atamwita dadii ama atamwita mamii? Disaster juu ya disaster. Mama hana bwana, lakini uko na B. Kusota umesota cause mam hana G. Sasa uko tu kisha ukafukuzwa. Kusota umesota cause do ziko Z. Toto ako njaa, sosi ziko Z. Na dadii ako Z. Wewe ndo mamii na wewe ndo dadii. Atakuita mamii ama atakuita dadii. So D usidie, don't you die. Never let it die. God loves you as the prodigal son. Be wise, be solo, for you are one. Poor decision making, marafiki wongo. Saying no to them for boys are like lotion. If you give them promotion without motion, you'll end up doing abortion. Thank you. So just to finish up, it's a very short spoken word actually, just as you have seen. And just to finish, okay, so we find that D had bad friends and all that stuff who are misleading her to such kind of stuffs and all those bad characters that teenage girls involved in. So we advise her at the end of the spoken word that she should leave that kind of group and focus on other things that are godly and yeah, and that are right. So and yeah, the name of this spoken word is Mami au Daddy, because we find that D has to raise her child as a single mother because the boyfriend now left her. Yeah. So the big question in this spoken word is that will the child call you mommy or will she call you daddy? Atakuita daddy ama atakuita mommy? Yeah, that's the big question in this spoken word. Thank you.